You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments below. Be sure to smash that like button. A big topic of conversation in LSU circles over the past 24 hours or so thereabouts has been Derek Stingley. There are reports that Derek Stingley left practice on Wednesday, potentially with an injury, the nature of which and severity of which undisclosed. I asked Ryan Clark about this. He didn't have any information upon which to elaborate. And at this point, I don't either. I think it is fair to say that Stingley's status for Saturday is at least questionable at this point until we learn more about the nature of the injury. Now, Ed Ogeron will meet with the media after practice today, so Thursday, 6 p.m. is Ed's media availability. So as soon as we get off air is about when Ed meets with the media. So we should find something out this evening about the nature of Stingley's, of whatever is happening with Stingley. It's worth reminding you that a year ago, the night before the season opener is when Stingley fell ill and had to go to the hospital and did not play the next day against Mississippi State. We learned that Stingley wasn't going to play that morning, the morning of the LSU-Mississippi State game. And we saw the result, which was an SEC single-game passing record of 623 yards for the Bulldogs. You are obviously going to be better if you have Derek Stingley than if you don't. Now, I look at this game, and I am, for me, you have to earn the benefit of the doubt. And LSU's defense, which we've seen through 2020 and then so far through 3 games in this season, LSU's defense has not earned the benefit of the doubt. This was a team that routinely had the same issues a year ago. A lot of those same players are still playing on this LSU defense. We saw them have many of the same issues from a season ago carry over in the opener against UCLA, where a very experienced, talented play caller in Chip Kelly schemed his guys open and hurt LSU. The last 2 weeks, you were flat better than the teams you played, but even still, we saw the 2 offensive touchdowns from Central Michigan come on coverage busts on LSU's part. So at this point, there's nothing to suggest we should just give LSU the benefit of the doubt and assume that they are going to be that much better defensively than they were a season ago when Mississippi State had a career day, a record-setting day against LSU in Tiger Stadium. Now, I will remind you of this as well, because right now there are, I'm certain, a lot of fans who have the narrative thinking that LSU's offense is the bigger issue. LSU offensively right now is averaging 36 points a game this year. Do you know how much Mississippi State is averaging through 3 games? 29 points a game. LSU offensively is averaging a touchdown more per game than Mississippi State. So, small sample, I get it, just 3 games, but Mississippi State played Louisiana Tech mixed in there. And they had a game mixed in there against NC State. And then, of course, last week against Memphis. So, there were opportunities to stockpile stats and didn't do it. Flip side of it, too, is we've seen this Mississippi State defense be vulnerable. Tech scored 31 unanswered against them. State forced 3 turnovers against NC State. Otherwise, that number would have been much higher. But for me, I look at this and I go, okay, that State offense hasn't been super explosive. But do you realize a year ago, that Mississippi State offense, which had a record-setting day against LSU, that Mississippi State offense finished with an average of 21 points a game? Did you know that? Mike Leach's first offense at Mississippi State finished the season with an average of 21 points a game. Last year's LSU team averaged 32 a game. Last year's LSU team, which lost to Mississippi State, finished the season averaging 11 points more per game offensively than that Mississippi State team. There are teams that defensively have success against Mike Leach. There's no question. LSU has not proven, though, yet to be one of them that can or will. So my nature is that I'm going to say I have to see it for you to get the benefit of the doubt. I think on Saturday, LSU is going to give up a lot of yards and a lot of points. I think State is going to move the ball, and they're going to score. The onus is going to be on LSU to generate offense. So, of course, I would love it if Derek Stingley's out there. But as of this moment right now, we have to at least say that's questionable until we find out for certain. What I don't mind saying right now as well is that ear to ground around LSU, they're very confident that they're going to get Trey Bradford and John Emery for this game. Now, John Emery, and of course, we had his attorney, Don Jackson, on the show last week, and Don Jackson alluded to that they were hoping to have the NCAA hearing this week rushed and then have a decision before the Mississippi State game. Ed Ogeron, when he met with the media earlier this week, said John Emery on the SEC teleconference, said John Emery has been practicing. If he's clear, he will play. He is in shape. He's ready to roll. He's good to go if he's cleared. That hearing's today. They're expecting a ruling on Emery no later than tomorrow, and possibly a ruling on Trey Bradford today, possibly. So it could be that LSU's going to Starkville with Emery and Bradford. And if so, that is a massive boost. As much as we've talked about left tackle, and we did this earlier in the week, yes, I want to know who that is. I also understand Max Johnson is a left-handed quarterback, so from the left side, that rush is in his face, really he can see it. You'd be more concerned about your right tackle with a left-handed quarterback, coming from the blind side. But either way, I want weapons. I want offensive weapons on the field. Do you realize last year against Mississippi State, LSU's leading rusher was Chris Curry? Chris Curry was the leading rusher a year ago. And Ty Davis-Price was second, and then Emery was third. But Emery also had 3 catches for an average of over 8 yards a catch. So if this offense, to be more multiple and be more open, has to throw the ball to the running backs, which is I felt like I said that every day all summer. I mean, sometimes during the summer you get repetitive because you're talking about a lot of the same storylines day after day until you have games to talk about. But we talked about finding the Clyde, right? If you want to recreate 2019, you have to have the version of Clyde, and that's someone who can run between the tackles, get to the edge, and catch the ball. Well, they've yet to find that. Emery and Trey Bradford are the best options for that among these backs, and you might get them this week, which could be a major boost in a game where I think, just my opinion, you're going to have to score a lot of points. I know the total in this game is like 55 or something like that. I think you're going to see a much higher scoring game than that on Saturday in Starkville. I get it. It's 11 a.m. It's going to be sleepy. LSU's probably going to have about like a 6 a.m. wake-up call because you have to get up, eat breakfast, get on a bus from Tupelo to Starkville. It's like an hour ride. If you get there, at 9 a.m. for an 11 a.m. kickoff, you're in the bus 7:30, 8 o'clock. You're up at 6. It's going to be a long, weird morning the way that's all going to play out, and maybe it'll be sluggish at times. I don't know, but I do believe that LSU has a long way to go defensively. Mike Leach, as an elite play caller, is going to find vulnerabilities. I would love to see Derek Stingley out there because you're going to be better with Derek Stingley on the field. Even if he's not there or if he is there, I still think State's going to move the ball. The onus for LSU is to generate offense, and they may well have Bradford and Emery, and if they do, that's going to be a major, in my opinion, boost to this offense, which seems to have found some other weapons outside of just Keyshawn Butte, Deion Smith, Jack Besh. Trey Palmer, when healthy, has emerged. I think Trey Palmer's going to give it a go this week. Yes, there's the question about left tackle, and it seems as though the freshman Garrett Dellinger is probably going to get the first look over there. Cam Wire did practice yesterday on Wednesday, but as I understand it, is extremely limited. And maybe he dresses and tries to give it a go, which is very hard for me to imagine that, but stranger things have happened, so we'll see what happens on Saturday morning. But if LSU, like I think, is going to have to score to keep pace, I'd feel much better about it if I know Emery and Bradford are out there giving LSU more dynamic options in the running and catching game. So as we know more, we'll certainly tell you, but could be a big 24-hour stretch here for LSU as we learn more about who's going to be available for the 11 a.m. kick and start there. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.